Hello students, in today's video we will be discussing a type of gas laser, that is HENE laser, which we call as helium neon laser. This was the first gas laser which was operated successfully, and this was fabricated by Ali Javan and his co-workers in Bell Laboratories in the year 1961 in USA. Prior to helium neon laser, there was ruby laser developed in 1960, which we had discussed in the earlier video. That was a pulsed laser, but this type of laser is known as a continuous beam laser. Continuous wave laser means continuously you get stimulated emission. Because it is a gas laser, it uses electrical pumping to achieve population inversion. So population inversion is necessary for stimulated emission, and to achieve population inversion, the type of pumping this laser uses is electrical pumping. So basically in electrical pumping, what is done, a DC current is passed through the gas and that will excite the atoms of gas. This laser operates at a wavelength of 632.8 nanometers, or you can say 6328 angstrom, which is closer to red, the wavelength of red color. So we get a red beam as an output of helium neon laser. Let us now discuss the construction of helium neon laser. Construction wise, it is very simple. There is a glass tube taken in which helium and neon gas mixture is filled. One side of the gas tube is silver polished in such a way that it gives us a partial reflector. The other side of the glass tube is polished in such a way that it gives us a perfect or a full reflector. So in this case, because this is a full reflector, you will not get laser from this side. Laser will be emitted only from this end. At the two ends of the glass tube, there are two electrodes connected. One acts as anode, that is the positive terminal. The other acts as cathode, that is the negative terminal. So these are the two electrodes through which DC current is passed to this gas mixture. The glass tube which is taken is approximately 25 to 100 centimeters in length and approximately 1 centimeter in diameter. And this tube is filled with the helium neon mixture in such a way that the ratio of helium and neon is 10 is to 1. So 10 atoms of helium, 1 atom of neon. It is taken in the ratio of 10 is to 1. Let me just tell you that helium and neon, if you compare the masses of the two, the mass of helium is 4, whereas the mass of neon is almost 4 to 5 times the mass of helium. And in this part, the combination of helium and neon, we say that helium is the gas which gets excited first. So this is known as the excitation gas and this is known as the lasing gas. Lasing gas means this is the gas which is responsible for the photons or which is responsible for the laser light. So if I say that mass of helium is less than that of neon, what actually happens when you pass the DC current through it, the helium atoms get excited first, which in turn excite the neon atoms. Now the role of helium gas in helium neon laser to achieve population inversion is to achieve population inversion in neon gas, and the role of neon gas is to emit photons, where neon gas is known as the lasing gas. Helium and neon gases are filled in the thin tube at different pressures. They are filled in the same tube, but the pressure of filling the gas is different. Overall pressure of this tube, the overall pressure maintained in the tube is around 1 mm of mercury column. But if you talk individually, helium is at 1 mm of Hg and neon is at 0.1 mm of Hg. Pressure of helium is 10 times that of neon. The glass tube ends are polished such that one side acts as a partial reflector and the other acts as a perfect reflector. This forms the optical resonator. The pumping source used here is in the form of electrical pumping. Two electrodes placed in the glass tube, which we had just seen in the diagram, through which a DC voltage is passed. This applied DC voltage will produce discharge in the glass tube. What actually happens, the DC supply which is given, that will excite the electrons of helium gas. So what happens after excitation of helium gas, the electrons start colliding and this collision is then transferred to neon. The laser output which we get is from the partial reflecting mirror, because the perfect reflector will not let the photons out. It will push the photons back in the glass tube. thereby resulting in amplification of laser, because pair of partial and perfect reflector forms the resonator cavity. The total pressure in the discharge tube is around 1 mm of Hg, like we had discussed earlier. Now let us move on to the working, which we call the energy band diagram. So this is the energy band diagram of helium neon laser. If you can see, the energy band diagram shows helium and neon separately, where the energy levels of helium are shown. So this is the ground state 1s. These two are the two excitation states. The two excitation states, because what happens is helium atoms, helium electrons or helium atoms, that is, the excitation is because of electrical collision, which is known as the electrical pumping. So that leads to helium atoms at two different energy levels. Getting it? So 21s and 23s, both of them represent excited state. So you can say that step number 1 is helium moves to either this level or this level. Both of them act as excited states only. Then what happens? Once the helium atoms are excited, these helium atoms will actually, or will in turn excite the neon atoms, and this is what we known as resonant energy transfer. So just see the energy of helium atoms. This energy of helium is transferred to the ground state of neon atoms. So helium, because the mass is less and because the proportion is more, helium excites first, and then in turn these helium atoms will excite the neon atoms. When you are saying excite the neon atoms, means they will be pushing these neon atoms from ground to excited state. So again, neon also moves to two different energy, two different excited states. So 2s and 3s, both of them represent as excited states of neon atoms. You know why helium and neon combination is used? Because you can say that the excitation energy of both the gases is almost same. So this band which is formed, this excited band which is formed, is common for helium and neon, and that is the reason a combination of helium and neon is used. So first step was excitation of helium. Now this helium has excited neon atoms, which are respectively moving to 2s and 3s. Now 2s and 3s, because it is an excited state, what happens is the lifetime of atoms is very, very less in this band, right? Because they are highly unstable. So definitely they are spontaneously going to decay. So what happens when the neon atoms spontaneously decay? They again, because they are from two different levels, they will be coming to do two different levels. So 3s to 3p, if you can say 3s to 3p, because it is spontaneous emission, it is an emission, it will emit some light which will be in the range of 3.39 micrometers. So the photons which are emitted in this is 3.39 micrometer wavelength, but that is a non-radiative decay, or you can say a spontaneous emission. Similarly, there will be electrons from moving from 3s to the level 2p. And you can also see that there are some electrons moving from the second excited state to 2p. So we have total three transitions: 3s to 3p, 3s to 2p, 2s to 2p. If you can see 3s to 3p, 3.39 micrometers, and 2s to 2p, 1.15 micrometers, both of them are in infrared zone and they are incoherent. So this emission is useless. That will not give us laser. But if you can see the population of this level 3p because of 3s and the population of this level 2p because of 3s, there will be a difference between the two. Why? Because this level is comparatively above, or you can say closer to 3s. So atoms moving here will be more as compared to atoms moving here. So there will be a population inversion between 3p and 2p because 3p has more population as compared to 2p. So between 3p and 2p, you will be getting stimulated emission, that is, which has a wavelength of 6328 angstrom, or 632.8 nanometers. Now these photons which are stimulated, which are emitted in stimulated manner, they will move in between the glass tube, and when they collide with the perfect reflector, they come back, they excite more neon atoms, that will give us more photons. Similarly, some portion of partial reflector also reflects back and they will be exciting more neon atoms. So these stimulated photons will keep on moving between the gas tube, between this gas tube. They will strike back excite more neon atoms. Some of them will strike back, some of them will move out. And as a result, we will be getting a stimulated emission of laser, of photons. Then from this 2p level, they are going to come to a lower laser level and finally the diffusion to the walls. Finally, they will be deactivating or they will be de-exciting and coming back to the ground state. So let us quickly see the 4 steps. Step number 1, you can say the excitation of helium, and helium will excite neon. So that is step number 1. Step number 2 is spontaneous emission to 3p and 2p. Step number 3, because population inversion is achieved, you get stimulated emission. So that is step number 2 only. Spontaneous emission leading to population inversion between these two levels, leading to stimulated emission. Then they come to a lower laser level wherein there is some energy. Now again, this is a fast radiative transition but will not give us sufficient light. And then finally from the lower laser level, they come back to the diffusion. So you can say that continuously 2p level will be having less population as compared to 3p. So continuously there will be a population inversion between 3p and 2p which will yield laser beam. Let us go through the points. When the DC supply is turned on and given to the discharge tube, the electrons of helium atom will get excited. Helium atoms are lighter as compared to neon. Helium atoms are excited to higher energy states by electron collisions. They will go to 21s and 23s. Now these excited atoms will transfer their energy to neon atoms. They are transferring the energy to neon atoms which are in the ground state. As seen in the above diagram, the energy levels of helium and neon are comparable. As I just said, that is the reason a combination of helium-neon is taken. This is the reason combination of helium and neon is used. The process of transferring energy from excited helium atoms to ground state of neon atoms is known as resonant energy transfer. Already mentioned in the diagram. This excites the neon atoms to excited state. When the neon atoms make a transition to 2p level from 3s and 2s, we get photons of 3.39 and 632.8 nanometers respectively. These photons will excite another neon atoms which will keep on moving between the optical resonator, thus amplifying and giving intense beam of laser. We can explain the above process with the help of two equations. Helium plus electrons. Where do these electrons come from? Because of the additional supply, the DC supply you have given, helium atoms get excited. So these excited electrons will give us excited helium atoms in the levels 21s and 23s. Now these excited helium atoms with neon will give us helium atoms back to the normal level and excited neon atoms. We need actually the excitation of neon because that is the lasing gas. Also, we can see from the above process that 3s to 3p is 3.39 micrometers and 2s to 2p 1.15 micrometers. This is in infrared zone and incoherent. So this light will not be useful. Only the transition between 3s to 2p wherein we have population inversion will give us 632.8 nanometers wavelength photons which are coherent. The advantages of helium neon laser are it is easy to construct and reliable in operation. It works in continuous mode. Okay. Now why it is easy to construct? You only need a glass chamber which is polished at both the ends. You need a DC source and you need a combination of helium neon. No additional material is required. It works in continuous mode. Let me just go back to the diagram, energy band diagram again. Continuously, if you compare this level 3p and 2p, because all the atoms after exciting will come here and then will come to 2p, and from 2p, because that is not the ground state, they are going to decay. So this is a level 2p which will always have less population compared to 3p. Why? Continuously, because of optical resonator, neon atoms are exciting and coming back to 3p. So 3p will always have more population than 2p. So that is the reason that helium neon laser will give us a continuous wave or a continuous beam of laser. It does not require any cooling system. Like Ruby had a flash lamp also, like we had seen in Ruby laser. This system does not require any cooling system. because the gases, one is excited and it excites the other. So no sufficient heat is generated, and so we do not require any cooling system. And the output from helium neon laser is it is more coherent as compared to solid state lasers. So this is all about helium neon laser. We'll be discussing applications of laser in the coming videos. Thank you.